Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soibifa Jackridge. World Bank President Ajay Banga on Wednesday called on member countries to make the next replenishment of the Leaders Fund for the world's poorest countries the largest ever, warning that the International Development Association (IDA) was being pushed to its limits by increasing demands. Opening a mid-term review of the IDA 20th replenishment totaling $93 billion, Banga said the World Bank shareholders, donor countries, and philanthropies needed to dig deeper to help International Development Association deliver better development outcomes to low-income countries. The current 20th IDA funding round is due to be completed on June 30th, 2025. The Zanzibar conference is aimed at adding to that funding, but Banga used to launch his campaign for the subsequent round of funding to well exceed the $93 billion. His call for increased concessional resources, which have been depleted by a slow rebound from COVID-19 and negative spillovers from Russia's war in Ukraine, came days after Banga emphasized the World Bank's ambitious plan to expand climate finance at the COP28 conference in Dubai. Banga at COP28 announced new targets to boost the climate-related portion of its total annual financing to 45% from 35% currently, with an immediate increase of about $9 billion. Some developing countries have voiced concerns that the leaders' new expanded mission to tackle climate change and other global crises will divert funding and attention away from the bank's core development mission. He also said the World Bank needs to revamp how it evaluates its performance to focus on improved outcomes, not numbers of projects or dollars disbursed. That means moving towards platforms that can be replicated, such as an IDA-financed mini-grid that delivers electricity to rural communities in Nigeria. NVIDIA is working closely with the U.S. government to ensure new chips for the Chinese markets are compliant with export curbs, CEO Jensen Huang said on Wednesday. The California-based artificial intelligence chip designer has commanded more than 90% share of China's $7 billion AI chip market, but analysts have said new U.S. curbs on chip exports are likely to create opportunities for Chinese rivals to make inroads. The added NVIDIA need to seek the advice of the markets, and the process is ongoing, adding that Huawei was a formidable competitor. NVIDIA warned during its November earnings that it expects a steep drop in fourth quarter sales in China in the wake of the new U.S. rules. Huang noted that China's revenue contribution to NVIDIA has been traditionally around 20%, but it was hard to predict how much that would change with the new U.S. export restrictions. Separately, he said NVIDIA was in talks with Singapore about potential big investments and working with the city-state to help develop its own large language model. Sea Lion, Singapore's Infocom Media Development Authority (IMDA), announced on Monday a $7 million initiative to develop Southeast Asia's first large language model. Huang noted Singapore had a vibrant AI ecosystem and its role as a major data center for many Asian markets. Chinese electric vehicle maker NIO plans to spin off its battery manufacturing units, according to two people with knowledge of the matter, as part of the efforts by the company to turn profitable, reduce costs, and improve efficiency. The nascent battery unit, led by senior manufacturing engineers whose previous employers include Apple and Panasonic, will seek external investors after the spin-off that could happen as early as the end of this year, with evaluation to be decided later, the people said. NIO declined to comment beyond founder and CEO William Lee's comments on an earnings call on Tuesday that the automaker would continue to do in-house research and development on batteries, but now planned to outsource all of the manufacturing. The spin-off underscores NIO's efforts to turn profitable sooner, as its previous plan was to develop and manufacture some batteries on its own and outsource production for the remainder to other suppliers like Telsa Dove cells, one of the people said. Under the plan, NIO's battery unit top engineers, some of whose past experience also included working on quality and supplier management at Telsa's Nevada battery factory, will join the new firm, while some staff will be emerged into some departments at NIO, both of the people said. NIO hired these engineers in an effort to mass produce large cylindrical cells similar to Telsa's 4680 in a planned plant in China's eastern Anhui province in 2025 at the earliest, the first person said. The assets to be spun off could include the planned plants, some testing equipment, and intellectual property, the person added. The planned plant was expected to have an annual capacity to produce 40 gigawatt hours of batteries that could power about 400,000 long-range electric vehicles. India's health ministry has ordered a probe into Apollo Hospital, Delhi, part of largest private hospital chain, Apollo Hospital, after media reports linked it into the illegal sale by Myanmar national of their kidneys for organ transplants. The National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, NOTTO, which falls under the health ministry, has asked Delhi Health Secretary SB Deepak Kumar to get the matter examined, take appropriate action, and furnish an action taken report within the week. A committee was being formed to probe the matter, and details of donors and patients have been sought from the hospital, Kumar told local media. Indraprastha Medical Corps, an associate of Apollo, which manages its two hospitals in the capital region of Delhi, said it had initiated an inquiry into the matter and called the allegations against it absolutely false, ill-informed, and misleading. A report in Britain's Telegraph accused Apollo of being embroiled in a cash for kidneys scandal in which young villagers from Myanmar were being flown to its Delhi hospital and enticed to sell their kidneys to rich Burmese patients. Chennai-based chain Apollo, which runs over 70 hospitals across India, performed 1,641 solid organ transplants in 2022, according to company data. The hospital also treats foreign patients who fly into India. In a quiet field in eastern England, a vast heat pump generates enough warmth to supply houses throughout a historic village. A pilot project testing ways to store renewable energy used in a country that is falling behind its net zero targets. Resembling a large agricultural site with gleaming silver water vats, the heat pump produces water hot enough to feed existing domestic systems, removing the need for costly home retrofits. A 60-year-old funding scheme removed upfront costs. Supporters says the network, the first of its kind in rural Britain, not only shows one way for the UK to catch up with Europe on heat pump adoption, but addresses how it can fund the wider net zero transition when household finances are tight. The government's officials' climate advisors have said Britain is not doing enough to meet its net zero targets. If it is to hit the goal by 2050, it will need to decarbonize 28 million homes, a major challenge when 85% rely on piped natural gas for heating and hot water, and when that gas is significantly cheaper than the electricity used by heat pumps. To tackle the almost 1/3 of UK carbon emissions that come from heating, it has a target of 600,000 heat pump installations per year by 2028. But progress has been slow, with installations expected to flatline at around 55,000 this year. In 2022, that rate of delivery puts Britain's 21st out of 21 countries in the European Heat Pump Association's ranking for heat pumps sold per 1,000 households. Although those figures can be distorted by the inclusion of heat pumps which provide air conditioning as well as heating. That is the side of Top Accolade Global News Update. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Wednesday.